Hi, this is the lesson number 13 in the series of British literature. In the previous lessons, we discussed about Chaucer, his life, and some of the characteristics of his writing. Now, in this lesson, we are going to start some of his important works, and by the time we shall also study about his famous work, that is Canterbury Tales. That is quite a longer work, but we shall discuss that in the last lesson. Means first we finish some of his shorter works. So we shall start with the first work, that is a translation. So it is not his original work first. It is the translation of Roman de la Rose. Roman de la Rose. It is a French work, and in English it is translated with the title Romount of the Rose. So original work is in French, and he wrote this work in Middle English. About the content of this work, first I should tell you that it is an allegorical work, and it is written by D. and D. Meung, the two French writers. So this work, Roman de la Rose, or whatever the translation Chaucer has done, it contains two parts. The first part, it is influenced by the love allegory by D. and the second part is influenced by the skeptical and satirical humor of D. Meung. So this work has two parts, and the first work is influenced, or it contains the love allegory of D. and the second, or the latter part, contains the skeptical and the satirical humor of D. Meung. In English, or in the Middle English, this work, Romount of the Rose, is found in three distinct fragments of translations. Means there are three types of translations available, and we still do not know which one is the original one, or which one is originally written by Chaucer himself. These are termed as translation A, translation B, and translation C. In the content, it is an allegorical dream in which the narrator receives advice from the god of love, and it is the advice by the god that how he can obtain the love of his beloved. Throughout the poem, his love is symbolized with a rose, and he is not able to get this rose. So this is how the title reflect by the word rose, the amount of the rose. Moving further, the next work we have, that is the Book of Duchess. Okay, one thing I would like to mention here, that on the screen whatever you see, these are just those words which I find that while speaking I'm saying you something, and it may not be convenient for someone to understand or to write down the spellings. Sometimes these are some odd words. So that is why I have just mentioned those points or those keywords on the screen. Otherwise, I am not giving you the important points on the screen. You can take this lesson as it is an audio lecture. Only the keywords or the important words which you may find difficult, as I found in the past in writing. So that is why I am just giving you those words in the form of picture before you. Now the next work is the Book of Duchess. It is written on the death of Blanche. And who was Blanche now? When we were discussing about Chaucer's life, at that time I told you that John of Gaunt is the son of King Edward III and his wife. His first wife name was Blanche of Lancaster or Lancaster, whatever you call, and the second wife was the sister of Geoffrey Chaucer's wife, Catherine Swanford, and wife of Sir Geoffrey Chaucer was Philippa de Roth. So to rephrase the things, Book of Duchess is written on the death of Blanche, the wife of John of Gaunt, first wife. About the content of this poem, there is a poet. Uh, the poet Chaucer himself written that in the content there is a poet and he is sleepless, means he hasn't slept for many days, and he is lying in his bed and reading book stories, and one story he is reading about Ceyx and Alcyone. These are husband and wives, Ceyx and Alcyone. Okay, well, there may be difference in pronunciation because these are some odd words. So the husband Ceyx is lost at the sea, and the wife Alcyone is mourning on his death or whatever, means he's missing. So the wife is mourning, and that time the goddess Juno, the goddess listens to her mourning and prayers. The goddess sends her messenger Morpheus. So goddess Juno sends her messenger Morpheus and to bring the body of Ceyx. So Morpheus does the same. He brings the diseased uh, Ceyx and asks Alcyone to bury the body. And when Alcyone was burying him, and then she was offering prayer, and when she again opened her eyes, and the Ceyx was gone. Means there was something like a dream vision even for the characters in the poem. Then the poet himself, who was reading that story, after reading that story of Ceyx and Alcyone, he was feeling that goddess Juno, someone like goddess Juno or God, should be there to help him, because he was also suffering, and he wanted to have such a sort of means a pleasant dream. And for that the poet fell asleep intentionally, or by reading while reading the book he fell asleep. Now in the dream there are several things. I just read those explanations or just those points. Which are those? The first, that in the dream he wakes up in a chamber with windows of stained glass. Then depiction of there is a depiction of tale of Troyes, means the story from the tale of Troy, and then wall painted with story of the romance of Rose. So some references to the things which he saw in the dream. Tale of Troy related to maybe Trojan War, the same, and then also about the story of the romance of the Rose, perhaps the earlier work by Chaucer, which he translated. And then in the dream, still he is going in the dream, he hears a hunt. The hunt is Octavian. Hearing those noises, the poet too goes into the forest, and in the forest he finds a knight in black dress. A knight in black dress, and the knight was composing a song on the death of his wife. The knight tells the poet in the dream, the poet is in the dream, and the knight is telling him that he was playing a game of chess with Fortuna. The knight was playing a game with his wife, Fortuna, his queen, and was checkmated. And then the poet thought that it is only a game, and he was just asking him not to be so sad on just losing the game. But what happened, actually the knight had lost his wife, and he was mourning on her death, and he referred his wife with some words like good, fair, white. And the poet still not understand about that metaphorical chess game. Means the poet in the dream, he saw a knight in the jungle and he was mourning on the death of his wife, though he was saying that he has lost the game of chess. So this word, the game of chess, is brought here as the metaphorical figure. Uh, but the poet didn't understand. He was just saying that why to be so upset on losing the game. So when all this happened and suddenly the poet got up, he's waken up. The poet wakes up and he still sees that the book lies in his hands, and that's how the poem ends. So this is the poem containing two different plots, and one is where he's reading something in the book. There he finds a plot, and this is explained about Ceyx and Alcyone, and then he himself fallen asleep, and there he sees something in the night, similar sort of, and then he again wakes up, and that's how the poem ends. So something like a dream vision, we can take it as. There is a one question in the past asked that which was the first original work written by Chaucer, Sir Geoffrey Chaucer. So in the previous segment, or in the first section of this lesson, I told you that the work, the Romount of the Rose, it is a translated work from French. So it is not the original. The original work by Chaucer is the first original work, that is the Book of Duchess, or the Death of Blanche. This is his first original work. So that's it for this lesson. We have discussed two poems, and further in the next upcoming lessons we shall be discussing similar sort of poems. Thanks for watching this lesson. Have a nice day.